Hi, this is Chamflet2 with another Bunker Sales Dune Buggy Tips and Tricks video. The primary focus of this video is all about shortcuts. Now granted, this first shortcut really is only usable if you have the Chumash bunker. But the rest of them they'll apply to everybody, no matter what bunker you have. But I have the Chumash bunker, and anytime I get a delivery that's headed to the east, no matter what the vehicle is, I always cut across this little gully here. It saves me a whole lot of travel time. And it's little tricks like this that really help you a lot with the Dune Buggy deliveries. If you can start figuring out little ways to cut off some of the time on these deliveries and to maybe get a little off-road where the dubstas can't get to you quite as easily, makes these a whole lot easier to do and they go by a lot faster. Now, rather than make you watch me drive all the way to the first drop here because there's not really any significant shortcuts between here and there, I'm just going to skip ahead and we'll pick back up in just a second. For the Dune Buggies, I believe there's like 5, maybe 6 different groupings of the 5 drop points. Now, regardless of which bunker you own, we all get the same groupings. Since they don't force you to start with one specific drop point, you can start with any drop you want. But these shortcuts between each of the drop points can still work, no matter which drop you choose to go to first. Now before I drop this, I'm going to give myself a little quick waypoint to see where I'm going next. That way I can dodge the dubstas and still remember where I'm going. Now from here, I know they're either going to spawn on the road just above me where I had my purple GPS line, but they're more likely to spawn on this little dirt road that's straight ahead of me, and that's because I was pointing at it. Whenever you're going to do a drop, whichever way your Dune Buggy is pointing, they're always going to try to spawn the dubstas coming straight at you, because they can do more damage to you. Well, now that car's ticking me off. They can do more damage when they're coming straight at you. I'm going to have to take this guy out. He's irritating me. Later, dude. So, the trick is with the dubstas, when you're making a drop of the weapons, plan ahead. If you think you need to go to the left, point to the right, and they'll spawn at the right. So you can just turn and they'll be behind you. Now I did leave a proximity mine right at the tip of the street there before I turned, and I'm going to wait and see. Does it? Yep, there. It got one of the dubstas. So now I'm just going to go ahead and go. I spent like a minute of my 15 minutes just getting my video started. So I lost at least a minute of the time just doing that. So I'm going to cut in here. I'm going to take a look at where I'm going next. Now this next shortcut is a really good one for this particular delivery. See how that dubsta is getting pretty close to me now? And I want to go down there to the LS River. A great way to get away from this dubsta is this little shortcut. So instead of going back the way they showed me, here I'm not going to go up the road and turn right. I'm going to cut right through here and jump over this hill. I do it all the time, so I'm kind of used to, how far I need to jump and where I need to land. And I got really far away from that dubsta very quickly. And now down here, this is another one of those GPS tricks that you probably already know. There's no point in me turning left and right and left again. I'm just going to go one extra block and only turn once. Things like that do help make it go a little faster and give you a little more time to get away from the dubstas. Now they're coming up behind me. If I'm going to leave a proximity mine, always remember, make sure you've got a way to get away if you're going to drop a proximity mine. If you get stuck, it'll blow you up. So always make sure you have your escape planned before you drop one. I try to drop them like right in the middle of the street, so that way no matter which lane they're in, it'll still get them. So I'm using this little spot here to get down to the LS River. And they're still up on the highway there, so they're not bothering me. Now you can see from here, if I just do a GPS waypoint, it's really right there off the railroad track. I'd have to do a little backtracking to go the way they want me to go. But instead, I'm just going to get on the railroad track. Now first I have to say, usually when I take this route, anytime I see this train, it's usually on the right track instead of the left one. So the lesson from that is never trust that that train's going to be on one particular track or going one particular direction. Always be ready for it, because they might surprise you and put it in a place you didn't expect. Another thing, speaking of surprises, you would think up here on the railroad tracks or in that railroad tunnel that the Dubstas couldn't get to you. They can. They don't very often, but they can. So never assume you're safe. They could spawn right in front of you in the middle of that train tunnel, and yeah, that's quite a surprise when they do that. But generally speaking, they won't do it. They're capable of it, but they rarely ever do that. So you can see, based on where the GPS had put me, I would have spent a lot more time on the road, and since I don't have much time for this Dune Buggy delivery, this shortcut on the railroad track saved me a lot of time. So I'm going to jump down here and get this drop. Now I wish I had stopped to look at this map longer, but if you take a quick look at it, this would be a very long route on the road. You could see it had me going all the way back south. We're ultimately going to Madrazo's ranch. It had me going way back south to the tip of the city to get there. So I'm just going to go as the crow flies and go right up over this hill. And I've done it enough times. That's the thing about the dune buggies. Once you've done them enough times and you start figuring out where the good shortcuts are, you can save so much time. So there's that guardrail. I knew it ended there, and I could come right across and get on this ridge. Now from one of my other videos, you might even recognize where I am, except I was coming the other way. I love this ridge. I'm always driving on this ridge. On my other video, I think I was going the opposite direction. I just got the 5-minute warning, so I'm still trying to get to Madrazo's ranch, which is a long ways from here, but we're going to make it just fine. Now see how I'm slipping kind of off of the top of the ridge there? The reason I always talk about staying on the top is when you're going up and down all those little dips, it really slows you down. So if you can stay on the top of these mountain ridges, you'll save a whole bunch of time. Now from here, I'm slipping a little bit. I could just get on this road and go to the right and drive around, but you know, what fun is that? If you're going to do these dune buggies, might as well have a little fun with them. So I'm just going to cut right over the hill. Makes it a lot more interesting, you know, shake it up, do things a little bit different, and then it sort of takes a little of the scary part out of the dune buggies. Most people hate these things. You know, you just gotta have a little fun with them. Now you do have to be careful when you're coming over this hill. If you go too far to the left there where the drain pipes come out, you can get stuck at that building. I've done that more times than I care to admit. But now that I'm on the road, I just need a break to get across. Yeah, right over there. Oh, I've gotten my dune buggy stuck up there, and that was in the days before we had the up and atomizer where you could just use that to get your dune buggy unstuck. By the way, if you didn't know that is a fantastic way to get your dune buggy unstuck when you get it trapped in a tree or something. So see, there you go. Even with the minute I blew in the beginning setting this up, and this is a really long delivery, I've still got plenty of time to spare. Oh, and by the way, we have a rule in our crew. If anybody's taking pictures, they have to be taken out. No pictures. Can't have evidence, you know. They can bust you if somebody's got pictures. Anyway, that's about it. The whole idea of this is pay attention to shortcuts. You can find little ways to get off the road and save you a whole lot of time. Thank you very much for watching. A like for the video and a subscription to my channel are greatly appreciated. In the video description below, there's a link to my Discord channel. Come on in and visit. We talk about videos I'm working on. Sometimes I share some sneak previews. And there's a whole bunch of really good GTA players in there. We share tips and tricks with each other. Come on in and say hi. We'd love to have you. See you next time.